Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. Greed is a powerful motive for murder. Do you like crime novels? Who doesn't? It's the number one podcasting genre. Anyway, it is fascinating to peer into the mind of a killer and try and sort out what on earth could drive them to commit such a heinous act. It's also fun to play amateur detective. You get to try and figure out who did it. Maybe you're like me and you start to look for changes in the antagonist's behavior, if there are any. Why are you putting up roadblocks? Are you just a red herring, or did you do it? Are the cops in cahoots? Is it more than one murderer? It's a mystery. It's a puzzle, and who doesn't like solving puzzles? Today, I have a book for you called Persons of Interest, and it is both a murder mystery and a romance novel.
In the back of my mind, I have my wife who's going to be reading the book and helping me edit it. I have 3 grown daughters who will read the book. I didn't want them to read it and say their husband/father was kind of a erotica type writer. So I kept the scenes very nice also. But that was like the hardest part of writing the book, keeping in mind that I did not want to be doing anything over the line.
Okay, so romantic, but not pornographic. I get it. That was the author of the book, John Jenchura, and one of the reasons he's emphasizing the importance of not going too far with the sex stuff is that the main character, Warren Wallace, loses his wife to breast cancer, and one of the story elements involves Warren re-entering the dating scene. It's a big part of the book, but it isn't the only part. Here he is with a prepared statement.
It is my hope that Persons of Interest will bring new readers to what I call the, quote, murder, mystery, romance genre.
I think it will. Let's dive in, and don't worry, there are no spoilers here. Our romantic mystery takes place on the East Coast of the U.S.
Much of the book is autobiographical. For example, I'm from Pittsburgh, and the book takes place outside of Philadelphia, but I focused on Pittsburgh sports teams because that's who I rooted for and still do all my life.
So Steelers and Pirates fans should enjoy this one. I thought it was interesting that in the book's prologue, John lists a number of elements that make up a typical crime novel. Some of them are cliches, like hope for the best, prepare for the worst, or keep your friends close but your enemies closer. Pride cometh before the fall. Or my favorite, at the scene of a murder, there's often the silence of death. Yet sometimes the dead speak the loudest of all. The idea is to give you some sayings that might get your mind racing and give you some thoughts about the plot. One in which a young woman is bludgeoned to death quite brutally with a golf club.
Being a golfer and an attorney, not surprisingly, I set the murder at a golf course. I had a couple of attorneys involved, 2 of which became very close, and while the plot was unfolding, they became more than just friends and developed a romantic relationship. So I have 2 plots going on.
Love and murder. This would not be the first novel to involve those 2 elements, so I need to let you in on something else. This story also involves insider trading.
I decided to develop the situation involving a crime known as insider trading, where a person gets information about a company that is not available to the public, and they take that information and use it to make decisions about buying and selling stocks. That is against federal law. So I developed that story with person inside of a company looking for acquisitions, and eventually that whole crime gets investigated, and it ends up being part of the plot involving the murder, but I'll say no more about that.
So Warren the widower liked to play golf, and one of his frequent playing partners at the Haverford Golf and Country Club was Brenda Lamb, our victim. I tell you, romance can bloom in some of the most unexpected circumstances.
So we have a murder, we have this insider trading, And then we have this very lovely romance between the young attorney on the investigating team and her blind date. She met her boyfriend on a blind date, and the blind date was set up by the attorney who was murdered. So that's all tied in there together.
Brenda Lamb, you poor matchmaking victim. How did this horrible thing happen to such a sweet person?
99% of all murder mysteries end up getting solved. In my case, that was true.
Good to know that it's not one of those stories with an open ending. I do like it when there's some finality. We do get some closure on what turns out to be a grisly murder in Persons of Interest by John Jenchura. It is available online right now at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and lots of other places. In fact, the Kindle version is only $2.99, so save a few trees and add that version to your reading list. And that will do it for this crime version of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.